Hello everyone, and welcome to a new story. Today we have What If Deku Was Jiren from Dragon Ball Super. If you enjoy the story, please like, subscribe and share the video, it really helps me out. I did not write the story. The writer is Zokatolo. Please go and support them. Now let us dive in. 5:30 am. Musudafu City was nothing but silent as the orange shimmering light called a star in the sky lit up every dark crevice in the city, well, most of them. Midoriya apartment. This old home seems like a tomb in this current state as not a single shred of light dared to enter. This home seemed to be a home for a family of 3 because it was once. Then there were 2. Then there was 1 and only 1. There was no noise in this tomb-like home. The tiniest mice could be heard scurrying across the floor and the dust can be heard moving around in this black abyss once filled with a set of smiles reduced to nothing but dead silence. In every room was like that dead silence, not a single one dared to make noise and not a single one had any source of living, well, most of them. One had a door sign that read, Izuku Midoriya, belonging to someone who has been robbed of childlike glee. You open a door to see a muscular and handsome teenager who is floating in a meditative stance with his eyelids shut tight. It seems he is not paying attention, but that is farther from the truth. He DMs almost everything, a waste of time, that might makes right and decides all. 7:40 am. For once there was an alarming sound. It was an alarm clock that made the floating, silent person open his eyes and read 7:40 am. He mumbled as he started getting ready for his day at Aldera Middle School by gathering his essentials that were spread across on his table. The 2 things Midoriya treats seriously is his training and his meditative stance helps with this, his quirk analysis journals. He writes in it so he is able to read a situation faster and handle it better without having to resort to physical experience but memory, are something to behold of easily rivaling people with analysis quirks, and he has written a number of them, currently at No. 13. After packing journal number 13 he made his way to the shower to wash his hair. He has a lot of hair, so I just had to point it out, and clean his body. Midoriya made it to the kitchen to make his favorite food, which is katsudon. He ate in a hurry and put on his uniform and grabbed his bag and left to Aldera with hopefully no distractions, but one can only hope so. 8:20 am. While ignoring the lustful stares from women as he walked to his school, a crowd caught his view. A giant villain stood on railways on top of a bridge where he was causing a scene. There were pro-heroes trying to handle the situation but not doing so easily, but that was fair since they did not have the best quirks for this operation, but in the end they would manage. It caught the attention of Izuku and gave him the urge to pull out his notebook to start writing in it, assessing the situation and what could be done along with fighting styles and quirks as you watch heroes like Death Arms and Kamui Woods try to handle the situation, while Backdraft was just creating a safety line for the bystanders, which Midoriya deemed to be useless attempt to play hero but did not want to point anything out. Anybody know why this guy decided to go berserk in the middle of the city? He was stealing some purses and got cornered, so he had no other choice. Wow, with a power like that he is just a petty thief. How typical, 2 bystanders said, which Izuku added to his notes, illegal quirk usage during rush hour. And theft resulting in bodily injury. You are the incarnation of evil. Izuku could not help but scoff at his overdramatic line, for crimes as simple and as minute as that, but a crime is a crime. But still it was a bit much, but decided to keep quiet as he tried to read the wood hero and what move he would use. Kamui pulled his arm back and tiny branches sprouted off, and the 6-foot giant knew this move, but it would not work in his favor. Binding lacquer chains prison. Kamui Woods said enthusiastically just to promote his move. Binding lacquer chains prison. Midoriya said in his mind unenthusiastically, since he knew he would not be the one to gain the glory. Canyon Cannon, a large 20-meter woman, appeared out of nowhere and drop-kicked the giant villain, knocking him out effectively while surprising everyone par Midoriya since he sensed her running towards the situation. Today marks the day of my debut. Hi everyone, I'm Mount Lady and it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, the new heroine says, pointing her rear end to the bystanders as a means to gain popularity and followers. Midoriya but couldn't help but grumble at the heroine for using her body to gain popularity just for her own good. Checking the time, it reads 8:35 am. Spent longer here than I thought. He finished with his journal and made his way to Aldera. Aldera Middle School. 8:40 am. 5 minutes early. Good, he opened the door to his classroom and saw that people were already there. The room got suddenly colder for everyone else when the door opened as they noticed Izuku Midoriya walk in, not paying attention or giving anyone else a glance. His classmates all looked in slight fear, some worse than others, as they recalled the incident a couple weeks ago. All his classmates learned that you do not fuck with Midoriya. Flashback start. It was currently lunchtime. Midoriya was sitting by himself in silence with his eyes closed and arms crossed in order to drown out the noise that came from everybody else, just waiting till the bell rings and he can go to class and go home. He was ignoring all the gossip from the girls about him, his physique and his looks. All the girls were in love with him and he just did not want to confront them since it was a waste of his time and they were leaving him alone and he would treat them the same way as they treated him. Some random girl decided to bring up the courage and confront the handsome devil. She was just hitting on him in hopes she would slither into his heart and gain a powerful, hot boyfriend who would protect her and talk to him. The table she was at looked at her with curiosity as she was going to confront Midoriya when no one else tried to. "Hey, it's Midoriya, right?" "Izuku Midoriya," she said in a flirty and slightly seductive tone, hoping he would be needy for love. But how wrong she was as he opened his eyes and gave a cold glare which should give anyone the memo of "leave me be." The teen flinched at the cold glare and become the center of attention but kept pushing on him in hopes she would win him over to her side and only hers. Some girls got jealous and gossiped about her. "Hey! No need to be so cold, cutie, just want to know you a little bit more handsome," she said in a much more seductive tone as she was getting more touchy and even touched his chest. All the girls were extremely jealous and were pouting about the girl who was trying to steal their dream boy. The lunch hall was now cold, freezingly cold. As one boy was now emanating traits of bloodlust, discipline and focus. Everyone froze at the sudden change of atmosphere and looked to the source only to see Izuku Midoriya with a larger scowl on his face and now stood up looking directly at his target, which was the ignorant girl, with the intent to kill. She was frozen in fear, all those traits and emotions were directed at her. She couldn't even move, breathe, blink, hell, think. She was only trying to find the words to use to beg for forgiveness in hopes she would be spared the death penalty. Midoriya grabbed the girl by her hair and lifted her up to eye level to make sure she got the message and chose his words. "I have no time for weaklings like you, who need to rely on others to get the job done. Might makes right and decides all." The entire lunch hall was still in shock due to fear. While the girl was taking it the worst since it was directed straight at her. Midoriya dropped the girl and she fell on her rear end still frozen in fear. Some people fell on there but due to fear. This would serve as a permanent reminder to not fuck with Midoriya. Flashback end. 2:15 p.m. It was getting close to the end of the day, as the teacher walked in carrying a small stack of papers, walking over to his podium. "All right then everyone, it's your last year at Aldera and now you have to decide where you want to go for your future. But why does that matter? You're all going to the hero course." The entire class erupted into cheers, par Midoriya, with everyone showing off their quirks in excitement of their future as pro-heroes, but Izuku knew only a tiny handful of his classmates had much of a chance of going to be official pros. Yes, I know you all have impressive quirks but no quirk usage at school." The students ignored his demand and kept on using them until a loud bang echoed through the room and the halls outside, gaining the attention of everyone to look at the catalyst of the noise. "Teach. Don't lump me in with these rejects, the extras will be lucky enough to make it as a sidekick to a D-tier hero. I'll be the only one to make it to the top." A loud and extremely arrogant voice rang through everyone's ears as it was shown to be Katsuki Bakugo, a blonde with spiky hair and red eyes who had a massive superiority complex who had yet to back it up. "Well, to Izuku at least. You don't just call us rejects, we are in the same class." Bakugo, most of the class reprimanded Bakugo for being his old and arrogant self. "Oh, shut up extras, I'll take you all on in a fight and win easily," the blonde said along with his ego. "Bakugo Katsuki, you do have an impressive quirk, and I see you're planning to go into UA, is that right?" The class was in awe that someone was planning to go to UA. That international school, it has a 0.2 acceptance rate, he might be able to do it because of that explosion quirk. The class gossiped at Bakugo for his plans. "That's right extras, it'll be the first in Aldera to get to UA. You'll be the one to surpass All Might and become the richest hero of all time," Bakugo said in his cocky, overconfident tone. "It says here that Midoriya Izuku is choosing to go to UA as well." The class was silent as ever, learning the fact that the most feared guy in Aldera is planning to go to UA as well. Bakugo was fuming in anger that someone else was going to UA along with him. "You useless Deku, what do you plan on doing going to UA, you quirkless shit?" Katsuki screamed out in rage at the calm and focused boy who simply responded in the most basic way possible. "Is there any issue? Why can't I go to UA but you can?" Izuku replied to Bakugu's quirkish comment with calmness and rationality. Enough. Midoriya, don't antagonize him. Bakugu, be silent. The teacher responded to both of the boys as Bakugu was still fuming in anger, just waiting for the day to be over so he can put the quirkless nerd in his place, while Midoriya was just waiting peacefully until the day was over. 3:15 p.m. The bell had just rang and the day was over. Everyone was packing their bags and ready to leave while Midoriya was looking through his journal analysis for the future number 13 just to put all the notes he written in the morning to memory. Once he was done, he packed his bag by putting all his school items and his journal, but before he could put his journal in, he was intercepted by Bakugu and two of his lackeys that tagged along with him. "Oh, Deku, did you not hear me? I said for you to not go to UA, you useless fuck," the blonde screamed out as his two lackeys make two insignificant comments that did not mean anything to him. "Yeah, you may be big and muscular, but you are still quirkless, which makes you weak and pathetic. Yeah, you green gorilla." Midoriya paid no attention to any of them since he was waiting for the right moment to show off his immense power, but for now he just had to make it past 10 months until the entrance exam and demonstrate to everyone. A zipper sound was heard and caught the attention of Midoriya, and what he saw was Bakugu holding his number 13 journal in his hand and laughed. "The hell is this, Deku? Are you really getting so desperate in order to get to UA? You have to stalk people and learn about them? You are such a useless freak, Deku." He puts the journal in between his hands and let off an explosion, which gave the journal some large burn marks. This did bother Midoriya in the end, but gave no reaction or satisfaction to Bakugu. Even when he throws it out the window into the koi pond, he gives no reaction or movement. This pissed Bakugu off that no matter what he did, Izuku would not care in the slightest. "You ignoring me, Deku? You think you're better than me, you defenseless bitch." The green-haired teen gave no response other than a glare. That one action caused Bakugu to attack with his quirk AAAAGGGGGGGGHHHHHHH. Bakugu used his quirk to attack Izuku at point blank, which surprised his two lackeys, but they smirked at the thought of the quirkless boy on the floor crying his eyes out in pain. When the smoke cleared, it revealed Midoriya in a slightly burned school uniform but without any physical injuries. He didn't even move or flinch or blinked. Midoriya just shook it off like it was nothing. "Seems you're not as weak as a stick, you quirkless weakling, but you're still a bug I can easily smash." Bakugu scowled but went towards the door and said a sentence that even surprised the green head. "You know, there is a way of getting a quirk. Go take a swan dive off the roof and pray for a quirk in your next life." That sentence caught Midoriya off guard, which caused there to be a slow build-up of anger but quickly got smothered as he reminded himself of the entrance exam in 10 months' time and that bickering about Bakugu now would be a waste of time. He quickly grabbed his bag and made his way outside to grab his notebook before it was completely destroyed. Outside Aldra Middle School. "He caught me off guard with that sentence telling me to kill myself. I knew he was not a good person, but he is just a villain at this point, who used his quirk illegally to cause harm along with being quirkist and telling someone to kill themselves. When the right moment comes, I'll show him who I really am and beat him while breaking his pride and ego." He kept on walking and thinking to himself, deciding on what to do next. "Sorry kid, nothing personal, I just need an extra skin suit." A being made out of sludge and smelled like a sewer appeared behind Izuku. The slime villain, hoping the kid was defenseless and weak, but how wrong he was. With a simple wave of Izuku's hand, the villain was pushed back several meters using wind pressure. "Why, you little brat?" The villain lunged at the teen, but an orange flash appeared in the teen's eyes and the villain was pulverized, leaving holes in its body, and pushed back again. "How are you so strong, bra dash?" The villain did not get to finish his sentence when he heard a metal clanging behind him. When he turned around, he was filled with dread. "Fear not, citizen. Hope has arrived. Because I am here." Izuku immediately recognized the voice of what hero this was. It was the #1 hero of Japan. The symbol of peace. All Might. 3:20 p.m. "Fear not, citizen, hope has arrived, because I am here." A loud and confident voice rang through the small space under the bridge as both the sludge villain and Midoriya knew who it was. One called it a pro-hero, the symbol of peace, #1 hero, All Might. One other, the worst outcome that could have happened to him, the last hero he wanted to be targeted by, but fate can be cruel and rather unfair for anyone who would be considered a villain. Humph, the muscular green-haired boy remained emotionless even if he got to see the symbol of peace fight and in action. Midoriya pulled out his journal and pen to start writing some quick and fast notes about All Might before he finished his job and jumped away. "Damn it, damn you All Might. Die. The sludge villain spoke with an ounce of venom, though not noticeable by either of the muscular people he was sandwiched in between, as he got ready to attack the muscular blonde with every prayer and ounce of hope he can gather from whatever god there is to help kill All Might and the green head. Humph, the kid over there must have attacked him with his quirk, the pro-hero said in his mind as he took note of the amount of holes in the sludge villain's body. I'll have to reprimand him, but not now, he continuously thought to himself with a large grin on his face. Texas, smash, he said in a loud and boisterous voice as he punched the air, creating wind pressure which split apart the villain into minuscule sludge puddles, which some sprayed onto the green-haired teen as he stood still taking notes of his Texas smash and the fact it can both be used for close range and long range with its wind pressure. If he tried to condense it, making wind bullets, which would give him more of an advantage, but his speed is top-notch already, so it's not particularly necessary to have a long-range attack if you can move faster than anyone else. But it's better to have something like that in your back pocket than not to. So you are the symbol of peace, All Might? Isn't that correct? Midoriya spoke in a focused and slightly disappointing tone, due to which confused the number one hero, but decided not to question it since he had to capture the villain. That's right, I am here to collect this sludge villain. I apologize if I was a bit slow, the sewer network is complicated for someone as fast me, ha ha ha. All Might spoke in his overconfident tone, which was fair considering his status and line in work. So he's an idiot then, the sewers aren't that complicated, Izuku thought to himself, being judgment to the number one hero not being able to make his way through the sewer system despite the water currents changing due to the sludge villain being in a rush, and there is no way the sludge monster was faster than All Might. Now before I make my way I have to say something first. Izuku raised an eyebrow to that, but guessed that it was because he used his power without authorization. Did you or not attack the villain causing the holes in one's body? Izuku responded in a focused and aware tone, surprising All Might for what he said and how he said it. Yes I did, but only in a matter of self-defense, but only because you were too slow and got lost in the sewer system despite you being faster than the villain by many times more. And before you leave I have one question for you, All Might. These words did surprise the adult, as someone was reprimanding him for being too slow in a sewer system to stop a villain, and despite all that he was definitely faster than the villain, and even with him being the symbol of peace he still said that, not caring about his status about the slightest. But those questions were for the future, not now. Yes young man, you are correct, and I do apologize again. Now let's hear this question you have for me. The hero started to smoke and had to finish this quickly, but what the teen said next surprised him. Can someone quirkless become a hero? The teen spoke in his regular focused tone, acting like he is in the Japanese military despite being so young. He needed to know if All Might is a true hero like the tiny amount in Japan, or a hypocrite as most others. All Might gave this thought but rushed it due to his time limit and his true form exposed to the teen. Honestly no, I don't think someone quirkless can be a hero. You can be a fireman, a police officer, or a doctor. Those careers don't get the same recognition as a hero. It's not wrong to dream, just make sure it's attainable. Be realistic. Those many words gave Izuku a disappointing answer and a disappointing result, as All Might jumped away to make sure his true form wasn't discovered by a teenager, but regretted the words he has chosen. Inside One for All. One for All, OFA, is a power combined by two others in order to make it, a powerful stockpiler quirk, and a quirk that can pass his quirk on to others. This combination of two specific quirks made the being of One for All. During its time it was passed along a chain of successors who would hope to defeat the most powerful villain in the entire world, All for One, who was the catalyst of creating One for All without even noticing until it was too late, as it was long to become the weapon needed to defeat him. One for All is a power passed on every generation to a worthy successor in a means to make the stockpiling part of the quirk strong enough to defeat All for One and end his era of evil. It seemed hopeless at first due to all the successors All for One has killed, not one being able to hold a candle to the supervillain even after every generation and every successor, until it was the 8th successor's turn. All Might. After his master was killed by All for One, he fled to America in a means to train and gain experience until he was strong enough to beat All for One, and that he was strong enough. He was able to kill the villain but lost most of his stomach, reducing the amount of time he can play hero, and that time has been steadily reducing after 5 years from 8 hours to 5 hours, now 3 hours is his limit. Unbeknownst to him, One for All has evolved into something more, the users before him now live inside of its core along with all their quirks, ranging from being able to float, to store kinetic energy by repeating a movement, or releasing black squid-like tendrils from their body and much more, and this came with their holders of those specific quirks. All of the predecessors have been watching All Might and his actions to see if his master did choose the next successor for One for All and hopefully the one to beat All for One. When they saw him land the final blow to All for One and watched his head form around All Might's fist, bleeding profusely. At first they thought he was dead and were a bit disgusted with the 8th user's decision to crush his skull right then right now, but later pushed aside those feelings due to it being All for One, a monster who lived and ruled Japan for over 200 years, manipulating and killing people who were considered strong. It's been 5 years ever since the 8th killed All for One, and the previous One for All users have been watching him ever since, from him knocking villains out in a single strike to going on talk shows, discussing about situations and what All Might's quirk is, to which he dodged the question every time. When All Might met Midoriya, all the users were curious about him, how someone who is so young, so focused and always has a scowl on his face, who is alone despite being extremely hot. The 7th user said that and everyone scolded her but agreed with her statement. The green-haired teen then asked a question which struck everyone, the 7th user the absolute most. Can someone quirkless become a hero? 7th was immediately sure of the answer Toshinori would give, but what he said next left everyone in a furious state. Honestly, no, I don't think someone quirkless can be a hero. You can be a fireman, a police officer or a doctor. Those careers don't get the same recognition as a hero. It's not wrong to dream, just make sure it's attainable. Be realistic. That singular sentence changed the atmosphere inside of One for All, leaving some of the users distraught, furious and disappointed with the choice of words coming from the so-called symbol of peace. 7th was most distraught that someone who she nurtured and gave him her trust in order to be the hero the world needs, casually break it without noticing or showing any sign of emotion besides that mask he calls an everlasting smile. Damn it, 8th. Why did you have to go and do that to the kid? The one with the long red coat and oversized collar said, clearly disgruntled with the turn of events. That hypocritical fuck, he just casually destroyed that kid's dreams like it didn't mean anything to him. The one wearing gold goggles and a black unbuttoned coat with no shirt underneath, who was furious at the blonde. Calm down, 5th, I'm annoyed as well. The one with white hair and green eyes tries to reason with the newly proclaimed 5th in a calm tone despite the anger being built up inside of him. Hey 7th, you sure you chose the right successor for One for All? The one with white hair parting away from his thin green eyes, wearing a green hoodie with a scar running across his left eye, questioned the one called 7th, All Might's predecessor. When I first met him, I thought I found the right one, but now I'm starting to regret the choice of giving him One for All. The proclaimed 7th, who was a beautiful woman with black hair in a tied-up bun, who wore yellow gloves, a black suit with a white cape, white boots and finally a red belt, said clearly with a tear running down her face to show her disappointment and sadness that someone she deemed worthy of her quirk. To be a hypocritical, oblivious dunce. I'll be waiting here for when he dies, so I can kill him again. The one with blue hair tied up in a bun and a bandana going across his forehead, with a green vest and a black shirt, spoke in such venom and anger that everyone turned their attention to the event that was unfolding right now, both surprised and slightly scared at what will happen inevitably. Third, why you can't kill someone in this empty void? Alright, the one with the oversized red collar questioned the now proclaimed 3rd user of One for All in both fear and curiosity. I know 6th, but he'll make sure to hurt him. Painfully and permanently. The 3rd said again with even more venom to the now proclaimed 6th user of One for All, with a new determination in his eyes and voice, all directed at the hopefully soon to be dead 8th One for All user. Good 3rd, make sure it hurts. Real nice, a redhead who wore the identical clothes to the 3rd user with the green vest and black shirt with a large collar, who has a scar running across his face in between his eyes and down his face, said in an almost agreeable manner which surprised everyone. He was the wallflower of the group, not caring much or showing much emotion to anyone else. So, both 3rd and 2nd agree on causing pain to 8th. Does anybody else agree to this? The white-haired frail adult with emerald eyes spoke in a calm tone despite the situation, proclaiming the redhead to be the 2nd user of One for All. I sure as hell agree to that idea, count me in. 5th said in his regular but loud and slightly obnoxious voice, agreeing with 3rd's and 2nd's statement. I'll be joining the beatdown on the piss-poor excuse of an 8th successor. 4th said in a relaxed form but showing a hint of fury in those words. That depends if he is even smart enough to find a better successor than the green-haired boy. Just by looking at him I know he is good enough for One for All. 6th said with a judgmental tone. All of it directed at the 8th user. I'll just be there to scold him for being a massive hypocrite, but me beating him black and blue is still on the table. 7th said in a hopeful tone, believing 8th will realize his mistake and find him again to apologize and offer one for all to him before it's too late. That depends on what 8th will do next. If he tries to apologize, maybe he'll lay it off, but if he does not, I will beat the shit out of him. The green-eyed, white-haired frail man spoke with fury in those words but calmness in his tone. So everyone is up for beating the fuck out of 8th when he comes here or when he dies. I'm a tad bit surprised to see even you willing to make him bleed first. 3rd said to everyone while proclaiming the green-eyed, white-haired frail man as the first one for all user. All right then everyone. Let's hope 8th isn't stupid enough to ignore the green-haired boy as a potential 9th successor and that he will apologize for what he said to him. Let's hope so. All the users besides the first say in unison before they stay silent and keep on watching. Outside of One for All. After hearing those words and seeing All Might jump away to leave, Izuku had his answer on who the symbol of peace, the number 1 hero, All Might really was, and in the end it did not surprise him all that much. All Might was one of the causes of quirkism towards people with weak or no quirks. When people saw the devastating and immense power All Might had completely crushed everyone else, people changed their views on the world, and that is, if you have a weak quirk, you are ignored and targeted by ones born with strength. If you have a powerful quirk, you're treated like an immortal god that has to have his boots kissed and cleaned every second of their lives while being treated like kings that deserve everything. If you have a mutant quirk, they are often secluded from society for being freaks, inhuman, and treated like animals for something they had no control over, but society still blames them. If you have no quirk, you get the worst end of the stick. You get belittled by everyone for being weak, pathetic, and being a good-for-nothing deku. You get constantly harassed and abused, taken advantage of because of the lack of an ability that was entirely random that you have no control over. Midoriya finally had his answer from the one who was deemed a perfect hero by many, but how wrong are they? I'll have to be the one to fix this world, it seems, and I'll do it by myself without anybody's help but my own. Midoriya stated to himself as he thought back to the words the number 1 hero said to him and that he needs to be realistic. Izuku then left the tunnel heading home as there was smoke in the sky which eventually caught the greenhead's attention and lured him over to the situation. He saw multiple pro heroes including Death Arms, Kamui Woods, Backdraft, and eventually Mount Lady. As he looked over the crowd to see the situation, he saw the sludge villain somehow escaped from All Might even when he had him captured in a bottle and had a hostage, judging from other people's words. Midoriya walked closer and saw who the sludge villain's hostage was. It was the obnoxious blonde Katsuki Bakugu. 2 minutes ago. Katsuki Bakugu was walking in an alleyway with his lackeys behind him, talking about their future with the hero schools they are going to go to in 10 months' time. Hey Bakugu, one of his lackeys spoke to the blonde. What is it, Fingers? Katsuki said, clearly bothered. Wanna go to the arcade with us and hang out? Yeah, we could go and pick up some chicks, the other follower said. Hell no. If UA sees me picking up chicks after school, they'll reject me, Bakugu says while kicking a bottle making its cap loose, which contained the sludge villain. The 3 boys looked up as they saw sludge leave the bottle forming the sludge villain. None of them refused to move due to fear. The hell happened? Oh yeah, All Might appeared. How did I escape and that brat'll find him and kill H? Oh looky here, some extra skin suits, just what I needed. Thank Kami. The 3 picked up their senses and started running the opposite direction of where the villain was and reached a gas station as they got away. Fate was cruel, however. 2 minutes ago. All Might was thinking if he chose his words correctly when he was with that boy, but decided not to dwell on it for long as he landed on a building out of time as the smoke enveloped him and transformed him into a skeleton-like state of his former, pro-hero self. He is reduced to this weakened state if his time is up, which is 3 hours every day and has been getting shorter for the past 5 years ever since the fight with All for One. Alright then, let's get you to the STA-. He pauses as he notices the soda bottle that should be filled to the very top with the sludge villain is missing, gone from his pocket. Damn it. Don't tell me I dropped it. I spent too much time taking to that boy. Damn it. He immediately accuses the greenhead for his loss of time and loss of strength blatantly without any form of evidence or a solid reason. Inside One for All. Please don't tell me he is just blaming the boy for asking a simple question that decides his future. 6th hoped not, but in the end it was all true. Damn it, what happened to you, Toshinori Yagi? 7th said with slight regret along with strings of sadness that someone she deemed worthy of One for All just does something as unworthy as that. We can't do anything about it, it is not time yet for us to interfere with the current wielder. Be patient. 7th. First said in his regular bored but slight focused tone which wasn't new to anyone. Outside one for all. I've gotta hurry up and find the sludge villain and regain some strength while I'm on the way, Toshinori said to himself as he rushed down the stairs and out the building in order to save whoever might be in danger. Current time. Izuku saw Katsuki Bakugo in the sludge villain's chest slightly submerged with his arms, legs, torso and forehead caught in the villain's slimy but yet rope-like grip, clearly struggling and trying to resist. As he further analyzed the situation he saw both of Bakugo's lackeys back-to-back surrounded by flames hoping a hero would save them, and their prayers did come true as the wood hero, Kamui Woods grabbed both of them in a single branch as he ran through the fire, potentially caused either Bakugo's quirk, the gas station nearby or both. Wood and fire don't exactly make a great combination, I'll let someone else handle this guy. Kamui Woods said out loud ignoring the fact of quirk combinations and actual teamwork. Don't look at me, I've got my hands full with these fires, where are those damn fire trucks? Backdraft said while handling the fires in the buildings and surface ground. HRRRRR, how dare you prey on a child, villain, the hero Death Arms said as he activated his quirk and landed a blow on the villain but not affecting him in the slightest. What the? Some kind of goo, the punching hero backs off in failure as his quirk failed to even hurt the villain. Stay back or I'll snap his neck, the sludge villain exclaimed pointing towards Bakugo who was gagged by his slime. Grrraiga. Let me go, I'll send you back to whatever sewer you came out of. Katsuki threatened the villain causing explosions in his palms in an attempt to break through but failed and only making the situation worse for Backdraft. Such power, which a quirk like this under my control I can take down All Might with one punch, damn it. Thanks to that kid's quirk he's causing explosions left, right and center. We'll do damage control until someone with the right quirk makes their way over here. Izuku was frankly disappointed in all of the pros as they could have easily rescued Bakugo if they even had a brain to use. Death Arms could have saved Bakugo when he went to attack and grabbed the kid with his free left arm and pulled him out. Kamui Woods could make his branches wet with Backdraft spraying water onto his branches making it a lot more difficult for the wood to catch on fire and use his binding lacquer chain prison move to grab Bakugo and pull him out from the villain's grasp. Hey look, ITS that new hero Mount Lady, she'll save us, a woman pointed out. About time she got here, Izuku thought, I'm going to need a 2-lane road if I'm going to get through here, the heroine pointed out, which made Izuku internally facepalm at the absolute ignorance and stupidity of this pro-hero, who could shrink down and run in there to save him but was too stupid to do so. Damn it kid, I'm sorry but you have to hold on for a little while longer, Death Arms thought, clearly frustrated as both his hands clenched making his knuckles go paper white. Damn it. If I only had more power I could blow this guy away. If only you weren't an idiot the hostage would be fine. Do I have to do this myself? I might have to, Izuku said in his head, slightly conflicted but had no choice but to help the obnoxious, cocky blonde. Where are the hey kid, get back, it's dangerous. Death Arms noticed a green-haired teen appear in front of the villain pulling back his fist to land a punch. ITS you again you brat, I'll kill you this TI dash. He did not even get a chance to finish his words as he was blown apart by the green head with a single punch, creating wind pressure around the area smothering all of the fire and solving both problems with a single move, putting the heroes and crowd in awe. Midoriya walked up to Bakugo with a still frown on his face, watching Bakugo get up baring his teeth at Izuku like an animal. I didn't ask for help you useless DE dash. He didn't get to finish his sentence as he was knocked out after getting hit in the vagus nerve by Izuku and promptly kept silent. Midoriya grabbed him and lifted him over his shoulder and walked towards the pros, putting the blonde on the floor as he ignored lustful stares from women and a certain heroine. He'll wake up in 32 seconds. And he is awfully loud, so be aware of that, Izuku said, walking past as he was grabbed on the shoulder by Death Arms, which means, stop moving and listen to me. He turned his head to see Death Arms with a frown on his face. That was really stupid kid. Do you have a death wish or something? He tried to lecture the tall teen but he didn't even show any sign of emotion. It was better than what you were and everyone else was doing, just standing around doing nothing as someone was dying. He responded with a comeback, making the heroes around him annoyed, some even mad. You don't have permission to use your quirk, kid. You should have just let the pros handle this, and we couldn't do anything. Our quirks were ineffective to the villain. That doesn't mean you should do nothing about the situation, and you had 2 chances to grab Bakugo. One was when Death Arms attacked the sludge villain. His right hand was caught but his left was free. He could have grabbed him and ran off. Another one was with Kamui Woods using his lacquer chain prison in combination with backdraft's water, making the branches wet. Wet wood does not catch on fire so easily. You of all people should know that. Kamui Woods. And Mount Lady, you said you need a 2-lane road in order to get through to areas, but tell me this, why did you not shrink down? Do you lack the ability to grow to a more small size than your max size, or are you just that oblivious or stupid to that possibility? Everyone in the crowd and the pros were dumbfounded. The pros were disappointed to how right he was about them. And unbeknownst, someone already started recording the entire event and the lecture the teen gave to every pro in the facility. Bakugo was starting to wake up and Izuku was pointing at him. And Bakugo, I know you were the hostage and the damsel in distress, but using your quirk almost killed you by creating fires, risking innocent lives for your own safety and causing more problems for Backdraft, to which he had the ability to save you by washing all the sludge away from your body. And I'll remind you of your job and what you should be doing. A hero's job is to save people. That's a hero's first priority in their line of work. Everyone's jaws were wide open at the accurate analysis of the situation and a teen lecturing pro heroes for failing to do their job. This eventually caught the eyes of one large group built on lies. All Might was watching in his still skeletal form, watching immediately, thinking to himself, how is he that strong? I thought he told me he was quirkless. I got to find him and offer him one for all, hopefully he'll forgive me. The vestiges of One for All were also dumbfounded at the boy's power and intelligence, as well as solving the situation in one go, but were hoping Izuku would accept One for All and become the ninth wielder. The police eventually arrived and detained the villain with court cancellation cuffs. Bakugo was brought to the police station for interrogation, while Izuku was being interrogated but more thoroughly since he was the center of the attention and used his quirk without authorization. But due to him saving a life, defeating the villain, and stopping the fires in a single attack, he was not given strict punishment and was released and ready to go home. As he was confronted by a certain blonde. Hey Deku, what the hell was that? Izuku looked at him but kept on walking, ignoring the waste of time. Oh, Deku, don't ignore me. You think you're better than me or something, you useless Deku. Be quiet, Bakugo. People have ears that can hear voices, and your one is obnoxiously loud. Midoriya came back with, but that ended up infuriating the loudmouth for him to reach his limit. Midoriya heard fast footsteps behind him and turned around to see Bakugo running at him, palms wide and open, but a single glare made him freeze in his tracks. Don't even try it, he said with an ounce of venom, but enough to kill a herd of elephants, as he left the blonde alone till he saw him turn back muttering. Izuku kept on walking till he was intercepted by another blonde. It was All Might in his buff form, laughing loudly and proudly, acting like he just won the lottery, but those were quick to be put to an end as he transformed back, blood spilling out of his mouth like rainstorm. This is certainly different but not entirely surprising. You've gotten weaker, haven't you, All Might? That sentence surprised All Might, eyes wide open as the sky, as he now questioned who this kid really was. How did you know about my weak spot? The blonde said, stuttering his words, undeniably surprised that this boy figured it out without even seeing the injury, or learning about it. Inside One for All. All the users were dumbfounded along with All Might as they learned there is more to the kid. Him then meets the eye. Let's hope All Might says the right thing and apologize profusely. Fifth said, which everyone agreed with by nodding. Outside One for All. It was quite easy since for the past 5 years, the amount of hero work you've been doing has been getting reduced slowly but surely from 8 hours, to 5, to now 3, and for some reason you show your true form to me. Someone who you do not even know anything about. But let's cut to the chase. What do you want from me, All Might? Toshinori immediately brushed off almost all of his previous questions about him but had to answer this one. Now, young man, I forgot to ask for your name when we met. Do you mind telling me? It is Midoriya, Izuku Midoriya. If that's the only question you have, then I'll be leaving, he said, walking away intending to go home. No, that wasn't my main question, but now here it is, All Might said, attaining the teen's attention. I deem you worthy of my quirk. My quirk has the ability to be passed on to others. And looking at the actions and heroism you've showed today, you have deemed yourself worthy of my quirk. It's called One for All. One, for, all? Izuku questioned but kept on listening. And you, young Midoriya? You can become a hero? All Might assumed he would start crying and get on his knees due to shock, but he stood still, not even blinking, eyes concentrated on one singular entity, and that entity was All Might. No, Midoriya said without a single change in voice. All right then, let's get REA. I'm sorry, but... What did you say? All Might hoped his ears were playing with him or he was joking, but that was unlikely judging from the absolute focused face he had pointing towards All Might's tiny blue eyes which didn't have any clear emotion in them. Just a jumble of emotions stacked on top of one another. No, I won't be accepting this one for all, especially after what you said about me needing to be realistic and that quirkless people can't become heroes. Inside one for all. Damn Tashinori, you messed up real damn good, Seventh said, clearly disappointed in her successor. Saying, messed up real damn good, is a massive understatement. Midoriya was literally the 9th user but 8th was a massive idiot, he didn't even apologize. 5th said, clearly ticked off. Let's hope in the future he'll change his mind, 6th said in a hopeful and mainly calm voice of reason. But if he doesn't, that's his choice, we cannot force him a burden. 1st said, everyone nodded in agreement. Outside one for all. B. But, you'll be able to achieve your dream. W. With one for all I'll be able to achieve my goals, is that what you are saying? Because if it is, then I'd rather not take it from someone who is just a hypocrite who goes against his own ideals. You say it can be passed on, so I'm assuming it was passed on to you then, right? Midoriya questioned the so-called symbol of peace. Why yes, your observations are correct. All Might said, stuttering in worry of this boy's intellect and focus. Then I don't know who decided to give you one for all, you must have been better back then, but if they could see you now and were watching you, they would be disappointed, I guarantee you that, All Might. He spoke in a mockingly way to put shame and embarrassment on the number 1 hero after walking away from the speechless and annoyed blonde hero to his house. 4:34 p.m. Midoriya household. Izuku had already returned home and was not doing anything from his norm, just meditating in his room and watching hero fights while taking notes from those heroes, fighting styles and their fundamentals, how they could be improved drastically. 2 top heroes caught his eye as he was watching on his laptop, those 2 being the number 3 hero Hawks, and the number 6 hero Mirko, as he learned from Hawks and what he wants, being a world where heroes have too much time on their hands. And Mirko, who was focused on fighting villains and had an unbreakable will to keep on fighting and defending bystanders no matter the cost on herself. In his eyes those 2 were different from the rest of the imposters, the so-called heroes, since Hawks wanted to be so strong and fast that he would be able to stop multiple crimes in a blink of an eye. Mirko will always be constantly fighting to protect ones who can't protect themselves, and will always fight to the bitter end for the sake of others. I'll need to find those 2 and learn about them, to see if they are truly good enough for the job of a hero, or if they are just liars and cheaters. Midoriya silently pledged to himself that he would need to learn about the top 3 and top 6, Hawks and Mirko. A knocking sound caught Izuku's attention since he never got visitors. As he wondered what it was, he stopped meditating and got up and thought about the possibilities on who would be knocking at some random guy's home. He pushed those thoughts out as he opened the door, which revealed 2 people wearing suits and a clipboard. Izuku was confused at the sudden arrival but responded with, "Who are you, and why are you here?" Midoriya responded to their arrival with his regular, cold tone. "We are the HPSC, the Hero Public Safety Commission. We are the HPSC, the Hero Public Safety Commission." Izuku was surprised to see the HPSC at his door, knocking, clearly wanting something from him, or wanting him. But either way he has give something to them one way or another. This is a surprising turn of events. Are you here because I was attacking the sludge villain when the heroes didn't do anything, or is there a more deeper and unexpected reason? Midoriya guessed using the information he had in his head for confirmation of an answer, but he was still too ignorant for a solid reason for why the HPSC came knocking at his door. "If you would allow us, shall we go talk inside your living room? We'll explain everything as in why we are here and how we found you, all your questions will be answered." The lady spoke in more of a demand than a request, but Izuku brushed it off as only an act as he nodded, opening the door, letting them inside, leading them to the living room. "Coffee, or tea? Which do you prefer?" Izuku questioned the 2 as he sat up while looking into both of their eyes with a cold but curious gaze. "No, but thank you for the offer. Now let's answer some questions you may have for us." The gray-haired man wearing glasses spoke, clearly wanting to know and answer the green-haired boy's questions. "How were you able to find me, if the only known appearance of me was of the sludge villain incident?" Midoriya responded by giving what they asked for, as they responded with, "Someone was recording the incident and caught the moment when you solved all situations in a single attack, and displayed your intellect and analysis by telling the heroes what they could have done to save the innocent and handle the situation more easily. By the first hour the video went viral all over Japan and therefore catching our attention. We used security cameras that were around the street and eventually tracked you down here. Does that answer your question? The chairman spoke. It does indeed answer my question. Now for my other question. Do you mind introducing yourself to me and what roles you play in the HPSC? He asked with pure curiosity, with only a normal voice hinting at his current state of mind, that being calmness. The two people looked at each other and nodded in confirmation to tell him who they really were. I am the chairman of the Hero Public Safety Commission and this is my associate. And would you mind telling us who you are? The chairman said, gesturing the old woman beside him holding her clipboard and pen. That's the best they'll give me for now. I'll tell them my name is Midoriya, Izuku Midoriya. For my last question, what do you want from me? He answered his question and spoke with droplets of venom raising both of their eyes in shock, unexpecting such a powerful tone from someone so young. To answer your question, we want you in our program, so we can help you become a pro hero. We want that incredible strength and intellect and further improve it. So you can become an amazing hero? How does that sound? The chairman finally answered his question with a request at the same time. Do you mind telling us where your parents are? We need their confirmation as long as you are up for the task. Izuku immediately flinched at the mention of parents, since he has lived alone, and has only been able to stay in this apartment thanks to his father who works across seas sending him enough money to pay rent, bills and food, but other than that he has no any kind of company. No, my father works overseas, and my mother is dead, the teen responded in a dull tone along with his concentrated look, eyebrows furrowed as always, as the chairman and his associate blink in surprise. But I'll be going into your hero program, but that isn't my choice now, is it? None of my parents are here to give you an answer and I don't have my father's contact info. This was an unexpected turn of events for the HPSC but not unfortunate, as now they were able to get Midoriya onto their side by molding him into what they want, an obedient super soldier. One who obliterates villains with a swing of a fist and one who does not let their guard down, ever. I apologize that they are not here, but don't worry. We can still get you into our program as long as you sign these papers with your signature, he says, giving a dozen pieces of paper and placing them on the table along with a fancy black pen. All right, you got yourself a deal. Midoriya says as he writes his signature in all 12 pieces of paper. A dozen is 12, where a signature is needed. Splendid. You'll have a wonderful time in our program. Now you'll have a choice to either come today with us or later. Which one do you prefer, Midoriya? I can go today, I don't have anything special to do, so I'll just need to pack everything up, which shouldn't take long. Just give me 10 minutes and I'll be going with you. Midoriya responded, which left the chairman in a slight gleeful mood since everything was going swell for them. All right then. We'll be waiting here until you finish packing. The chairman responded, a bit ecstatic but wasn't noticeable by his associate at the very least. Midoriya nodded in approval and made his way to his room, packing what little he had, those being his quirk analysis journals and his laptop, along with his stuff he brings to school every day. Izuku thought if he should ask for new set of pencils, pen and rulers, but decided to ask later as he was putting all his stuff in his bright yellow bag before finally zipping it up and leaving his room. I'm ready. How far and long will the ride be? Izuku said as he tried to remember if he forgot anything but brushed those thoughts away as he saw the chairman and his associate standing up, walking towards the door. Should be around 2 hours or more, and before you ask, you won't be going back to Aldera, because you're far too intelligent to be in that of a simple middle school like Aldera. You'll be given a test by the HPSC to see where you are currently at this moment. They all walked out the apartment with Midoriya tracing behind them with his eyebrows still furrowed, as they normally are, looking for a car that might seem to be governmental as he spotted a black limo and made his way down the stairs, out the apartment building. There were one other person, probably the driver, Izuku thought to himself as they opened the passenger doors for the people coming inside. Midoriya sat at the very back as the chairman and associate were sat in front of him. All right then, I guess I could use the time to meditate. Just never thought I would be meditating in a limo driven by the HPSC, but there is always a first for everyone, Midoriya pointed out in his head as he started to close his eyes and cross his arms and envelop himself in the silence. 6:45 p.m., Hero Public Safety Commission Building. He heard the brakes were used and the car turned off as he opened his right eye to see they were at their destination. A Hero Public Safety Commission building where he assumed he was going live there. He did feel bad about not being able to tell father that he no longer needed the money given to him to pay bills, but when he'd see him next he would apologize to him, but that would have to wait because now he was heading straight for the entrance along with the chairman and his associate. So I'll be living here now, aren't I? Midoriya asked, breaking the silence where only the wind would be heard. Yes, yes you are, and there will be someone to shepherd you since you've been alone for a while now, haven't you? I have, so it's not exactly going to be a change I'll like, just not one I'm comfortable with for now. Midoriya responded as they walked in through the doors and following the chairman afterwards. 6:51 p.m., HPSC training room. The training room was to be shown with a large set of doors with the kanji signs for training room to be written on top of the door. This is where you'll meet your handler, along with your trainers, so pay some respect to them, Midoriya. Midoriya nodded in confirmation as he walked through the doors to be met with a very unexpected event. Rumi, why did you take my pillow? You know how much I like it, a blonde with gold eyes along with large red wings said. Shut up, bird brain, it's mine now, a short brown red-eyed woman with snow-white hair with rabbit ears yelled. You are not making this easy on me, a tall woman with purple and pink hair, tied up in a ponytail wearing a single-eyed visor? As Midoriya took a closer look he could not believe his eyes, his luck was incredible. Those people were the number 3 hero Hawks, the number 6 hero Mirko, and the number 2 hero Lady Nagant. All bickering over a pillow? Midoriya couldn't help but grumble at the almost cartoonish situation he was forced to come into, along with the chairman and his associate as they grumble. The top heroes eventually stopped yelling and saw the chairman waiting, and they immediately walked forward toward the president as they saw a 6 feet 11 inches boy with long and puffy dark green hair with his eyebrows furrowed as well as his mouth frowning. After the 3 pro heroes finished with their odd bickering, all about a pillow, they noticed the chairman and immediately began walking towards the two, not noticing the teen. As they approached closer they noticed someone who was 6 feet 11 inches, long, thick, spiky and fluffy dark green hair reaching his upper back, and as they looked at his face, Mirko and Nagant thought, he's hot, and both blushing almost in synchronization due to their first thoughts as they looked at his face. Hawks couldn't help but chuckle at the two heroines as he noticed their faces blushing bright red when they saw the guy's face. Mirko, Nagant, Hawks, this is our newest hero in training in the program Izuku Midoriya, we are assigning you 3 to train him for the future. The 3 heroes couldn't believe it, this man was just a teenager who they were meant to train for his future. Wait, aren't you the kid from the sludge villain incident? Hawks recognized the kid as the one who used his quirk without authorization, but saved the loudmouth hostage, smothered all the fires with wind pressure, and defeated the villain. People know him due to someone recording a video of the situation and later the green-haired boy lecturing the pros for being lousy and not using the opportunities to save the hostage when they had it, and given them a solution to save the hostage with Kamui Woods and Backdraft. Backdraft making Kamui's branches wet and Kamui grabbing the blonde. The video went viral as people started commenting on how right he was for lecturing the pros for being lousy heroes who don't even know their first priority, that being to save people. HM? Oh yeah, you're right. Let me tell you something, kid, what you did back there already makes me like you a lot. Not many people have the courage or power to pull off something like that and still have a face like that. Mirko says boisterously with a large, proud smile on her face as a sign of respect. Midoriya wasn't expecting this reaction but kept his calm and focused aura as he was listening. Hello there, it's Izuku Midoriya, right? I'm Lady Nagant, you are definitely going to be fun to tutor. Lady Nagant says with a gentle smile on her face as she raises her left arm indicating a handshake. This will be a very interesting experience, being tutored under the number 2, number 3 and number 6 heroes. I accept the challenge, so do your worst. Midoriya pronounced with determination and a gram of arrogance as he shook Nagant's hand, making Hawks show a toothy smile, making Mirko laugh proudly with a slight show of sadism and making Nagant blush slightly but show off another toothy smile. Alright then, Nagant, Mirko and Hawks show him to his room and wait till he's ready. The chairman announced as he left the room to do God knows what. 7:13 p.m. So can you tell me a bit about yourselves? The teen asked to the pros as he finished packing, making them blink at the sudden noise but ended up playing along into answering his questions. Hawks went up first as he sat down against the couch. Alright then, I'll go first. I'm the winged hero, Hawks. You knew that already though. I want there to be a world where heroes have too much time on their hands. I like eating chicken, which made Izuku blink in surprise and interrupts him saying, I'm assuming people say you're a cannibal because you are a bird, but hawks hunt other birds, so it's all fine. Hawks gasp in a dramatic way, making the two heroines chuckle. Finally, someone gets it, thank you Fledgling. The nickname Fledgling made him turn his head in a confusing manner. Oh, I'm sorry, it's something I call people who I really like, and I like you a lot. Immediately says, "No, it's fine, you can call me Fledgling or any other bird like nicknames, I'm okay with it, Hawks." "Ah, thank you, Fledgling, and since I know your name I'll tell you mine. My name is Takami Kigo, I'm 20 years old, though I'd prefer it if you don't say my name in public when I'm in my hero costume or my big red wings are out. I don't want people knowing my real name." He said in a jokingly but slight serious manner. "All right then, Takami-san, I won't tell anyone else or mention your name to anyone, you have my word." Hatakami let out a gentle and sincere smile which caught the giant off guard. "Thanks, Fledgling." Mirko and Lady Nagant slightly cooed at the interaction between those two but moved past that as Mirko started to speak. "All right then, my turn." As she spoke again loudly as ever, "I'm the number 6 hero Mirko. My real name is Usagiyama, Rumi Usagiyama. Just call me Rumi. I'm 21, I like kicking ass. A lot. But I never forgot why I wanted to be a hero. It never was to fight villains but let people have confidence when they see me fight villains knowing they'll be safe. Because I'll never stop fighting until I win or die, living my life with no regrets because of me being inadequate." Midoriya paid attention real good since he never saw mere Rumi like this. She always was tough, loud and slightly bloodthirsty when in a fight. "That is quite a noble reason for why you want to be a hero, Rumi. I hope you'll live your life with no regrets and not be killed too soon," Izuku said, which made a small tear drop down Rumi's face as she smiled proudly that someone understood her without being afraid of her loud and rough attitude. "Thanks, Izuku. I wanted that kind of answer to come from someone and I'm glad that it's from you." "Ah, is it because he's hot?" Kigo teased Rumi as she became a bright red tomato from blushing and hid her face into her hair and ears from embarrassment, which only got a raised eyebrow from Midoriya. "All right then, my turn." Those words coming from Lady Nagant. "My hero name is Lady Nagant. I'm ranked number 2 below All Might. My real name is Tsutsumi, Kana Tsutsumi, and I'm 22. I like collecting sniper rifles, I like eating salmon, and why I wanted to become a hero isn't for fame or greed or any petty or simplistic reason as that, but just because I want to help people. I want to make the world a better and stronger place to live in so no one has to suffer anymore." What the sniping hero said left a wide-eye Mirko and closed-eye Kigo as signs of respect, but Midoriya had the most intriguing reaction. As he smiled. Only slightly but still a smile. "That is, again, a noble reason. I'm glad there is people like you that are still here in this hero society. I guess I should tell you about myself then. Kigo, Rumi, and Tsutsumi, please listen since I don't like talking about myself much." The pros were intrigued by this enigma. "See, call me Kakena." Izuku, the purple-haired heroine, said, slightly blushing and looking away. "All right then, Kana," Midoriya responded, tripling the amount of blushing on Kana's face, leaving a jealous Rumi. "Hello everyone, my name is Midoriya, Izuku Midoriya. I'm 15, I like eating katsudon. I have journals that have to do with quirks, heroes, and fighting styles, basically analysis journals. The reason why I want to be a hero is so I'll fix everything that's wrong with hero society with people who have simplistic reasons for becoming one, or someone who abuses their hero license and fails to save lives just so they'll be flashy and noticeable. I'll be a perfect hero and not like that smiling idiot known as All Might who everyone thinks is a true hero, but that is farther from the truth. I'll be the one to say that determination and a strong will decides all and not a quirk. I'll fix quirkism and quirkless discrimination. I'll fix everything and by myself." All the pros in the room were shocked at the sheer amount of determination and willpower from that single speech, but now the questions started to fill the room. "Wow, that was incredible. Okay. We'll help you achieve those goals since we are your mentors, though I'm not sure if we can do a good enough of a job," Kigo said sheepishly while scratching the back of his head and looking away. "That's fine, Kigo, as long as I gain experience that is enough of a job well done for all of you, but I would appreciate to learn something from some top heroes." Midoriya confirmed that he is not expecting all that much but hoping to gain something until he becomes a hero, and they were all fine with that but feeling challenged to see if they can surprise him with making him learn far more than what he can imagine. "Also, can I say something? What do you mean that you want be like that smiling idiot known as All Might? Do you have something against him, personally or generally?" Rumi addressed to the room as the other pros recall his speech and remember that line. "Oh yeah. Izuku did mention that. You have something against the big guy?" Kana followed up after Rumi. "It's both personal and general. Generally I dislike him, a lot. Reason why is that it's because he's killed more people than a psychopath and he didn't even notice it." That sentence left the room dropping in degrees at a rapid pace. What do you mean by that, Fledgling?" Kigo says with curiosity and fear at the same time, wondering how All Might could kill someone without noticing. "It's quite a simple answer. because ever since All Might became the #1 hero and UA saying he was extremely powerful like this in his first year changed the perspectives of people's view on quirks. It's that in their eyes you're either born strong or born weak, people being bullied and abused for having weak quirks, quirkless people even worse as they are deemed bottom of the ladder, a disease that should be avoided, a target that should be shot. I should know since I was playing quirkless when I was in school. The three pros couldn't believe his answer to why he dislikes All Might, and there was another reason. And personally, Kigo said, stuttering, slightly wondering what All Might to Midoriya that made it personal. I asked him a question to see if he was a true hero. I said, can someone quirkless become a hero? And I repeat these exact words. Can you become a hero if you're quirkless? No, I honestly don't think so. It would be far too dangerous. You could become a firefighter, doctor, or a police officer. It's not wrong to dream, just make sure it's achievable. Be realistic. He said those words to me and left, leaving me disappointed at the so-called symbol of peace, who can't even follow his ideals. All the top heroes were each experiencing different and similar emotions. Kana was filled with disappointment, Rumi was filled with anger, Kigo was filled with rage that someone they all looked up to was just a hypocritical fraud, which agreeing with Izuku, who can't even follow his own ideals, that anyone can become a hero. When that blonde piece of shit shows up, I'll kick his dick all the way to his ass. Rumi pronounced in a rage, ending the empty silence that enveloped the room, making the two other heroes flinch in the sudden change of atmosphere, but one quickly gained their resolve and continued, damn him, I'm going to give him an eye-opener on following ideals, physically and mentally. Kigo followed along with Rumi's sudden choice of a warpath on the #1 hero. Kana did nothing but grumble in disappointment that All Might could be that stupid. She knew All Might was stupid, but not that stupid. Now let's avoid All Might, for now, and I have a question for you, Izuku. Kana trying to change the subject as her plan succeeded as the other two calmed down slightly and started listening to her. What will be your hero name, Izuku? We'll eventually be working together, so why not tell us now if you have one? Kana carried on, which left curiosity in the #3 and #6 as what Izuku responded with surprised the others. I do have a hero name in mind and I won't change it. And what would that be? The purple-haired hero spoke and he responded with Jiren. 7:32 am. Midoriya POV. It's been 4 days ever since I joined the program with the HPSC. For those past 4 days I've been doing tests for them to see my intelligence and where I'm at and where I exceed in and where I suffer at. There was no suffering in any tests as I aced them all 100% completion, leaving dumbfounded faces across the room. They told me what my quirk was and I responded with jiren, the ability to control flaming like energy and use it to power a singular limb or my entire body, also having the ability to shoot it out, creating explosions. By using the energy I have the ability to make myself fly and sense others nearby. I've learned how to create an invisible wave of attacks just with my eyes, along with creating force fields which can repel any kind of attack if it is not strong enough to break the energy barrier. This explanation sent everyone's jaws wide open along with their eyes. I've learned how to use my powers at its absolute best without causing collateral damage. Requiring immense control over one's quirk, even more so if you have a destructive quirk like jiren. 1 day later. It's been a day since my tests were finished and today would mark the first day of my training. I thought about which pro would be tutoring me as I put on some clothes for training. It doesn't really matter who I'll have since it will be a good starting point of training with a pro and learning from someone with skill and experience, I thought of. As I walked in I saw Kigo sitting down on a chair eating chicken, looking bored until he noticed me with wide eyes and a playful smile. Must have been waiting for a while. Fledgling. I know you don't like waiting, so let's cut to the chase. I'll be tutoring you for the next month and then Rumi will do it, then Kana, then the last month will be a sort of final exam, to see how far you've come, but for now let's see how well you can handle yourself. Kigo said with a toothy but confident grin. All right then, sensei, do your worst, I responded, and making Kigo flinch at the word sensei, but later chuckle, cheeky aren't you? Now then let's fight, the winged hero says as he charges forward, and so do I, both of us colliding head on. After the fight, both of us were exhausted and I lost the upper hand due to Kigo's speed, flexibility and control over his quirk. He lacks power but makes up for it in speed, along with his feathers he can control individually, just proven to be a bit much. In my eyes I held my own well against the #3 pro, since he is the pro who moves too fast for his own good. Woo, fledgling, you are stronger than I thought, but it wasn't enough. Then again, top 3 pro here, so it's to be understood. Kigo still said with his cheeky grin despite clearly being exhausted. Alright then, so your quirks allows you to manipulate flame-like energy and control it at will. There is a lot of flexibility in that quirk along with power, so I say the best idea that is easy for me and helpful for you is concentrating that energy into your hand, enveloping it and then controlling it into a blade-like weapon. I also use swords, so it will be an experience for both of us. Kigo said in a thorough explanation which actually gave a surprised look in me which made Kigo pout in a childish but angrily fashion. Alright then Kigo, not a bad idea, so let's try it, I say as I concentrate energy to my hand to see it glow with power but not extend itself into a sword. Hey, fledgling, don't worry about it, if it doesn't work no one gets it first try. He said with another toothy grin. You must really like me if you used another grin like that. I sure do. Fledgling. Aldera Middle School. The class was confused as the teacher and principal said that Midoriya was not going to be here until high school. The girls were all upset that they lost their chance at getting the hottest boy with the hottest body with them. Bakugo didn't complain while scoffed and grinning, saying that he was scared of him. Most of the class begged to differ besides his lackeys, useless Deku. Next time I'll see him he'll be begging to leave the country, Bakugo admits. 1 month later. It's been a month ever since I started training with Kigo and I was finally able to concentrate my energy into my hands and extend it into blades for a long amount of time, which is now around 24 minutes and 9 seconds. While it was activated I was training with Kigo on blade control and the basic fundamentals on how to use a sword. Kigo says that for me it will be easier since it's a part of my hand and not one you can drop, and it being your hand will make it second nature to use, which I'm glad that is what happens. Alright then fledgling, it's been a month. Now you'll get to work with Rumi. Kigo says, trying to stay positive but there being a hint of disappointment. Are you sad? Yeah, I am. Sorry, it's just that I really do like you as a friend, maybe even my best friend dash. The door to the training room was slammed open and came through a livid Rumi after hearing those words with her rabbit hearing. Kigo was worried to what might happen to him as he was staring into the face of death. I heard that you fucking chicken, picking him after 1 month, Rumi roared. I am sorry, it's just that in our friend group I am the only guy, but now we have another one, Kigo admitted, which surprised Rumi and no longer pissed off as she has soft eyes that show forgiveness as he hugs Kigo and says these words, so rre dash. She says with slight trouble because she doesn't say something like that and gets a laugh out of Kigo as she's starting yelling childishly. When they finished I was tapping my foot on the ground as Rumi opened her mouth and walked towards me. Alright then, Izuku, she says while charging at me with her leg ready to kick. I wasn't able to dodge so I had to block the kick with still hurt. Alright then, let's keep it short and sweet, we are gonna be working on flexibility and fighting styles. Rumi demanded as I nodded, then responded with, okay then, sensei. This gave Rumi an even more so prideful and sadistic grin which sent shivers down to Kigo as he was watching far away. Alright then, Izuku, let's go, she says as she leaps towards me preparing a high jump kick, and I had no time but to block. After the fight, I was on the floor with my knees and hands trying to lift myself up, but I was exhausted. Apparently Rumi's kicks hurt like absolute hell and she was laughing proudly that she beat me. Hey Izuku, you didn't do half bad, but my kicks hurt, so you still got hurt badly by blocking. That has to change. Rumi stated, which I only agreed with by nodding while getting up on one knee. You are pretty strong. I'll admit that, but you lack flexibility. If you can move like me when our first month is up I'll be thoroughly impressed. But for now take a breather, you'll have to get used to it. I finally stood up and sat down again to catch my breath. Alright then Rumi, let's spar again, I say full of breath while Rumi only chuckled. Alright then schoolboy, then let's go. 1 month later. It's been a month and today marks my final day with Rumi, then I move on to Kana. There are days where I can't go to training. Apparently the HPSC needs me to scout potential villain groups. Due to my flight and sense I'll be perfect for the job. While I'm not complaining on doing recon, it's not as useful as training with Rumi while increasing my stamina in a fight and pain tolerance at the same time, farther lengthening the amount of time I can fight for, which also improves the amount of time I can use my blades, now up to 47 minutes and 31 seconds. Phew, man Izuku, you're something else. You've improved yourself a shit ton. You will become a great hero with that kind of strength? You are going to be incredible, Jiren, Rumi teased as I kept a tired and dull face without flinching at the hero name. Now I'm going to do training with Kana, is that correct? I question Rumi as she nods with a smirk on her face. Honestly, you're definitely someone I'd consider a friend, maybe best friend behind Kigo, she says, lack of thought until she realizes her choice of words and starts blushing and covering her face with her hands. Well then I guess I'll see you later Rumi. I gesture a handshake and while looking away Rumi takes it and shakes. A door to the training room opens to reveal Kana Tsutsumi in a short tank top revealing her lower chest and short shorts showing off her thighs. I had no reaction and didn't see anything wrong, but Rumi was fuming about her for something? She was jealous that someone was planning and moving in on her friend. All right then, let's get started. Izuku. Kana started as Rumi sat down near the wall to watch. We'll only be using long-range attacks since my quirk is only long-range and mid-range and you could use the aiming practice, she stated, making a solid point towards me. Okay then, sensei, I stated, making her blush at the sudden use of sensei, which stumped me but decided to move on and get ready to fight. Oh okay then, you are ready, Izuku? Kana says while stuttering as I say, yes I'm ready, while charging up my hands to prepare for the onslaught of bullets that will happen. Bang 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 bang. Multiple gunshots blew off. After the fight, I'm laying flat on my back as I'm bleeding and Kana standing strong with only a few burn marks and her rifle out loaded ready to shoot into what she wants to shoot. You're out, down on the floor bleeding. Here, she says, tossing me band-aids, the wound will get infected if you don't cover it up, and it probably will scar, Kana says as an image appears in her mind of a shirtless Izuku with scars running over his chest, legs, arms and everywhere else as she immediately turns tomato red, covering her face with her hair and hands and looking to anything else but me. I raise an eyebrow to why but start patching myself up as it took a couple of minutes. Kana is no longer bright red and taking a breath, indicating she will start to speak. All right, in the next month we will be learning about accuracy and prediction with your shots, along with condensing and pressuring your shots along with wide spreading them. Reaction time will be put into play if someone gets too close to you or puts you in their firing range. Thanks to Rumi's training, your flexibility is more so enhanced, so it will help with avoiding attacks when someone gets the jump on you. I agree with her analysis by grumbling and nodding, which she sends a small smile towards me. 1 month later. It's been a month ever since I started training with Kana, and while I was doing training with her I've learned there is more to her than meets the eye. One thing is she doesn't like the HPSC all that much, since she says it's full of built on lies and manipulation along with imprisonment and forced labor, which did open my eyes to the situation that some people like Kana were in if they had powerful quirks like Kana's rifle or Kigo's fierce wings. It was a prison for them and now for me, but in due time. Right now they are just sending me on small missions that involved scouting and rarely combat is involved, but they don't stand much of a chance against someone like me. I was broken out of thought when Kana walked up towards me, told me to come with her, which I did follow. You've been doing well, Izuku. Your reaction time isn't spot on, but you are up against me, so it's to be expected. If you're up against B-tier villains, they'll stand no chance. Kana said, which made me curious if what she said was statistically true or just a guess, but only time will tell. All right then, Jiren, come with me, I want to bring you somewhere and it isn't training. We are finished with today, Kana stated as I only nodded and followed her to whatever she has planned. She stops moving at a door with belongs to Kigo? She takes notice of my reaction and give me a glare that says, just let me show you. As she opened the door I was immediately confused at what was going on. It showed Rumi and Kigo sitting on a bed while facing a TV, Rumi sitting in front of the TV while leaning against the bed frame as she was holding a bowl of something. Oh Kane, Izuku, you brought him here. Rumi stating in her usual loud tone as Kigo took notice. Who, fledgling, you're here, Kigo announced louder than Rumi with a wide smile and a surprised but gleeful attitude. Yes, I brought him here. Now explain to him why I brought him there, Kana said as she sat down on a chair on the right side of the bed. Okay then, reason why you're here, Izuku, is because you lack social experience. And don't have any friends that are the same age as you. And you need a break in for you to have fun. Kigo stated, which only got a raised eyebrow out of me as I started walking out, but not before Rumi got in my way and Feathers from Hawks started pushing me back towards the bed. And oh, you're not leaving this special training session, as she started pushing against my chest and immediately started blushing immensely from touching his muscles, for whatever reason there could be, as he finally gave in and sat next to Kigo and asked, what are we going to be doing for the rest of the day? I asked as Rumi responded with, well, we are going to be watching a movie. Want some popcorn? She questioned, which only turned my head slightly in confusion. What is popcorn? I thought, I've only eaten foods that have been good for me and I haven't done anything else that would be considered by others as normal, I thought in my mind as everybody else's eyes widen at the fact that I don't know what popcorn is or ever tasted it. Okay, I knew you weren't social, but this is just not good. What have you eaten for all your life? Kana questioned, which I only responded with, I've only eaten foods that are good for someone like me, and Katsudon, nothing else. Everybody was dumbfounded that their friend, I won't call them that, was lacking this much social interaction or that he just hasn't well, lived. Wow, do you want to try? Kigo said in question and I nodded in confirmation as I took a single piece and bit into it tasting a tiny amount of salt. It has salt, it's okay, I said as the others sigh in slight relief as Kana grabbed the remote to choose a movie. Which movie you want to watch, Izuku? She asks the teen. Anything, I don't watch TV or any distractions like that, so I do not have any preference, he states, making the room fill up with slight sadness that someone they know has not lived at all, for a reason they do not even know about yet. Okay then, how about Home Alone? Rumi asked as everyone else hummed in agreement as she started the movie and everyone watched. After watching the movie, Izuku was almost at the door until he spoke. That wasn't a terrible training session, I'm going to sleep now, good night everyone, I say as the door was now closed, leaving worried faces in the room. Does anybody know what happened to him? Kigo stated, trying to get some answers. I'm not sure, but maybe we should leave him be, he just seems concentrated and focused, that isn't all that bad. Kana stated, unsure of how to handle a situation like this and with someone like Midoriya. It was not going to help in the slightest. Hell no. Let's just keep on nudging him and not push him all the way. We have a couple of months before the UA entrance exam, so let's hope we can crack that shell of his. Rumi says, accepting the challenge of parenting while the others groan that they have to play parent. But it will all be worth it for their friend. 7 months later. It was the day before the entrance exam and Rumi, Kigo, and Kana were being more interactive with me, which I was confused as in why, but shrugged it off as I was just meditating all the time along with watching hero fights and taking down notes about the situation and what they could have done. Tomorrow was the UA entrance exam and I was getting ready to get a good rest of sleep and doing some revision when I get to UA earlier than everyone else. I will show everyone a glimpse of my power as my journey on fixing this world officially begins. And that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like, subscribe, share the video and support the original writer. See you in the next video.